Okay, here's what we're making next. It's sweet potato pie, and I'm getting this from Diva's Can Cook site that I saw online. It looked pretty good. It looked like the things that I would normally use, so I didn't waste ingredients, but we're going to get started. Okay, so I have a 9-inch deep dish pie shell, 2 eggs, 6 tablespoons of butter or margarine. I'm using margarine as always. I've got 1 1/4 cup of sugar here, and I have 1 1/2 tablespoons of flour. I have a 1/2 cup of milk. I have, let's see, in this little blue cup, I have a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have 2 pounds of sweet potatoes that I have peeled, cut up, and put water on to cover. I've got 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream in this one. And then for our seasonings, I have 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt, which is what this recipe called for. So I'm going to clear all this away and get started on boiling those sweet potatoes. Now I know the recipe says to bake them, but I'm not going to bake them. I'm just going to boil them, drain them out real good, and then we'll use them that way, okay? So we'll be right back. Okay, right now I am about ready to start boiling these sweet potatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this burner onto high, okay? And I've also set this margarine here because it needs to be melted anyway, and the oven's already on, so it's going to melt right there because it's nice and warm there, okay? So once I get these potatoes done, I will drain them out, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you the next step. Okay, these are now fork tender, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn these off and drain them, and we'll be right back. Our next step is to pre-bake that pie shell. Okay, and now I've drained those potatoes, so now we're going to mash them. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the butter, okay, that I kind of let melt. Okay. And we're going to mash them kind of the same way you would mashed potatoes. Okay, so I'm going to finish this and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to put our dry ingredients in this bowl. This is the sugar. Now we're going to add the seasonings, which is the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the cloves, and the sea salt, okay? And we're just going to dump that in there, like that. And we're going to mix it up, just to combine. Kind of the same manner that you would do if you were making like a cinnamon sugar. Okay, so there's that. Okay, there we are. Now we're going to add it to our sweet potatoes. Okay, and now I will stir that around. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stir this around, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I've added the flour, and I'm just going to incorporate that, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and fix our wet ingredients up. Okay, so we have the 2 eggs, we have our heavy cream, okay, we have our vanilla extract, and we have our 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, and we're just going to mix all this together. I'm going to use a fork, okay, like that, okay, and then I'm going to finish this, and I'll be right back. Alright, now here is our seasoned sweet potatoes that I mashed. Now I'm going to add those wet ingredients with the milk, okay, all that's going in, okay, and then I'm going to mash it all together to make that pie filling. And I'm just going to take this potato masher And just mash it around like this until it's all incorporated, okay? And I'll show you what that looks like once it gets all incorporated. Be right back. Okay, here is the pie filling after I've mashed it all together. So now I'm going to go get the pre-baked pie shell out of the oven and we're going to fill that. Alright, and here is what that pre-baked pie shell looks like. Okay. Okay, this filling made enough for 2 pies. Alright, here's the one that's filled. And I'm going to put it in the oven. Okay, and here's that sweet potato pie in the oven getting ready to bake. I've put it on an old cookie sheet, okay? That way it doesn't fall over. But what you're going to be looking for when this, as you're checking to see if this is done, is that the filling is set and that when you put a knife in it, it comes out clean, okay? And that'll be about an hour or so. All right, we'll be back. All right, our sweet potato pie is now done. I just took it out of the oven. We're going to let it set and cool, okay? And the way you tell that the sweet potato pie is done is that you poke it with a knife or something like that, and if it comes out clean, it is done.